Oh, you're awake. Hello once again. It's me, that old rascal, Dr. Cyneric. Anyway, how are you feeling? Ah, wonderful to know. Wonderful to hear. Well, you're probably wondering why I'm here once again. It's time for yet another checkup. Are you excited? You should be. You should be. Because I've got a brand new idea to share you. Have you heard of intrusive thoughts? Yes, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Well, I gave it a bit of a think through, and I thought, what if I were to try to chase away intrusive thoughts? How does that sound? Oh, wonderful. I love your enthusiasm. All right then, so tell you what. What I'm going to do is have you get all nice and relaxed in where you are. Don't mind the sudden setting that I've taken you to once again. It just happens, you see. Sometimes I use my certain shortcut that I should probably not explain in further detail, but I use my certain shortcut, and it often results in us going to rather peculiar locations for our checkups. But of course I will be whisking you back to where you usually sleep, usually a bedroom of sorts. Anyway, so what I'll be doing is making sure that I'm chasing away these intrusive thoughts with whatever I can think of on the spot. How does that sound? Wonderful, wonderful. All right then. Okay, so before we start, let me know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the amount of intrusive thoughts that you have on a daily basis? Let's say 10 for you get them all the time, and it's not pleasant. And of course 1 being that it's very, very rare, it doesn't happen at all, if a lot. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your intrusive thoughts and how common and prevalent and, well, persistent they are? Really? You don't say. Well, I'm definitely making a note of that. Here we go. All right then. Since we're all here and we're all ready, I shall commence my intrusive thoughts, distractions, or as I call them, ITD, which stands for ITD. That's rubbish. Let's just refer to them as intrusive thoughts, distractions. That's what we'll refer to them as, okay? Yes, all right then. Let's try whispering some words first. Let's try doing that, yes. I'll whisper the word, bubble. Yes, I like that word. Let me try and whisper that in your ears. Bubble, 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 bubble. Bubble, 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 bubble. What are those little circular things that come out of a pan full of water when it's been nice and heated up? Of course it's a bubble. Bubble, 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 bubble. I remember speaking to a chappie once, strange green hair, peculiar facial hair, and his eyes looked like olives, and he spoke to me about music, and he got this single by a band called Fluke. It was called, funnily enough, Bubble, and I was already interested. I wanted to learn more about this, so he chatted for a good 10 minutes about it. It was quite peculiar, I must say, but still definitely got me interested, that's for sure. Bubble, bubble, bubble. Bubble, 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 bubble. Okay, whatever words can I whisper? Perhaps I could whisper the word rhubarb. Think of that. A delicious plate of rhubarb and custard. Rhubarb. In fact, have you tried rhubarb crumble? Oh, that is delicious, having some boiled rhubarb, ever so sweet, and mixed up with crumble, what's it called? It is a crumble kind of topping, and also custard. Ooh, rhubarb and and custard. I could just gobble up a bowl full of that right now. Sorry, I'm getting a bit sidelined. I'm supposed to be thinking about your intrusive thoughts, not mine, involving a delicious meal and a peculiar story about a peculiar chap. Anyway, so rhubarb. Yes, think of that. In fact, how about we think of a few, let's think of a few scenarios. I'll describe a few scenarios for you, so just think of these kind of moments anytime you get intrusive thoughts. What you can do, right? Think of walking down a beach, all the way down, step by step, squashing the sand underneath your feet. Can you imagine that now? Just imagine the little squishy, squashy steps in the sand, the wet part right near the water. Can you imagine walking through all that? Except it's not a beach. It's actually an entire portion of land made up of nothing but cereal. You know those kinds of oat kind of cereals that, well, if you put them in the bowl and add milk, it's squishy, with a slight bit of crunch here and there, but squishy to the touch. Now imagine that, walking inside a giant cereal bowl, and there's a little bit of milk, and you're walking across that cereal to squish, splosh. I'm sure those would be the kind of squishy, slippery noises. So imagine that. Okay, how about another scenario? Anytime you might have intrusive thoughts, imagine having a puppy. No, not one. Let's say 72, yes. Let's say that you're having intrusive thoughts, but then 72 puppies decide to very excitedly walk into your room, and they look at you, and you look at them, and the tails start wagging, and you start wagging your, well, you don't have a tail, I assume you'd probably just be wagging your face left and right in excitement, and then they all climb up onto the bed and start cuddling and kissing you. Now imagine that. That would be a wonderful sight, a heartwarming sight, wouldn't it? Yes, he is, I'm sure. All right, other things to think about. Yes, how about some maths? Some math equations. What is 7 multiplied by 8? Correct. I have 37 apples. Don't ask me where I got them from, it's just an example. I've got 37 apples, and some dastardly fellow managed to take away 12, but I got at least 3 of them back in the end. How many apples would I have left? And how many do you think I could turn into apple pies? Really? Don't think I could make that much pie with that many apples, but, well, I'll take your word for it. I'll definitely take your word for that. That's always something to keep in mind if you have intrusive thoughts. Think of math equations. Unless you're thinking about, well, intrusive thoughts about maths, in which case, disregard that one entirely. Completely so. All right. Final tactic to battle these intrusive thoughts. Imagine good old Dr. Cyneric paying you a visit again. Well, I will be, of course, but imagine me coming through saying, "Hello, I'm Dr. Cyneric, and I get rid of these intrusive thoughts by, how would I do it? Perhaps, maybe I would rub your head. Yes, rub your head, ever so softly and ever so tenderly, stroking your head, massaging the skull, rubbing away, and all those intrusive thoughts dribble out of your ears. I'd get a tissue for that, of course. I'd gladly get a tissue for that, but otherwise all the intrusive thoughts are pouring out all the way, thanks to good old Dr. Cyneric. Washed all away. Yuck. No one wants them there. No one wants these intrusive thoughts inside your skull. They shall all be washed away, thanks to good old Dr. Cyneric. Yes, Yes, just imagine that. Hold that image in your head. Keep focusing on it until I say so. And there we go. Okay. All done. All done. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was important and interesting. So, let's ask about your intrusive thoughts now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate them? Really now, you don't say. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. I'll definitely make a note of that. There we go. Lovely jubbly. Wonderful. Wonderful. All done. I guess we should probably get you back to where you belong, back in your room. So just lean back a bit. Lean back. Take deep breaths now. Deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Deep breaths in. And deep breaths out. Still keeping those eyes closed, I see. Good. Very good. Perhaps I can tell you a bedtime story before you fall asleep. I spotted a strange gentleman, rather bulky-looking fellow, white shirt, brown hair, red eyes, and he gave a peculiar, curious look at me from afar. I was walking in town, you see, wasn't too busy, but I saw him walking from afar. He gave me quite a strange glance. Naturally, I was curious. I stared at him back. I cocked my head a little bit to the side. He smiled at me. He smiled back at me, a toothy grin, and then kind of diverted his attention elsewhere and ended up walking inside a shop. I thought, wasn't that peculiar? Wasn't that strange? He looked at me, and then he smiled at me with such a toothy, fanged grin. Very odd, I know, very strange. It just goes to show the moral of the story is, well, I haven't really thought about that, but nevertheless, I thought it was a peculiar moment worth discussing nonetheless. So there's a bedtime story, and I can tell that you're ready to drift off into slumberland, so I shall bid you good night, sweetest of dreams, my number 1 star patient. Nighty-night now. And I'll be seeing you soon, once again. That's a Dr. Cyneric promise.